Hello, welcome back. This is Ryuuzaki Julio, and here we are continuing with our little video series about the Mamiya RZ67 Pro II. Next thing we're going to check out is the batteries, right? The Mamiya RZ67 Pro II doesn't really function properly without a battery. I mean, you can make it work without a battery, but at least even it's all apparently manual. It is like mechanic, and it doesn't have a light meter anywhere. So, but it still uses some electronics to move and communicate. Lens and back and other little features that it has, especially for the shutter speed. So this camera can take two types of batteries, and I wrote it down here. So both of them are 6 volts batteries, and one is 4LR44. This is on a type of battery, and this one is alkaline manganese battery. And then you have over here the 4SR44, which is a silver oxide battery. So one note is that silver oxide batteries do tend to last longer, but we'll check that in a little bit more. So let's see how to change it. So this camera has a battery right in the bottom. We saw it I guess on an earlier episode, and it doesn't have any indication that a battery goes anywhere, but it has these two little doors, like barn doors, sliding doors, and you just clip over here, and you can see this one just has some cranking there. So this one is not the one we're looking. This one is for the winder. It's this one over here. It has a little space over here to put a nail there, or you put your finger and press it really hard, and then it pops out. And once it comes out, well, it opens. You can see that you can see an indication for a battery orientation. You see the plus and the minus, and it's like pretty obvious. It comes with a little thread over here, and you put your finger out and you pull it like this so it doesn't jump onto you. And there you can see the guts of this thing inside. It's not, it's just a normally battery entrance. So the battery that I have over here right now is this Panasonic 4SR44. So I'm using the silver oxide, and yeah, I mean they do last for quite a long time. So, and this battery has a little indication. It's red on the top and the bottom is black, and there you go, red and not red. So just make sure to put it on the right indication, pop it in there just like that, and slide it in again. So you match those poles, the poles of the battery with the indication of the diagram, and you put it in there. Alright, so now those are the pretty simple steps. So what you do is you put your battery there. Now there's a couple of little caution things that Mamiya is recommending with this thing. First of all, if the battery is completely depleted, or it doesn't even have a power, or it doesn't even have a battery, if you put this little dot over here on the orange dot over here, see if you move it one way, it will not allow to shoot over here. I mean, we saw this in a previous video. If you press this, it will not go inside there. And if it's on the middle over here, well, right now it will not shine because it will give you some couple of errors. In this case, I don't have film inside here, so it will not allow me the trigger, and I have the dark slide inside, so it will not let me trigger. So this one, obviously, it works with all the electronics and all the systems and the sensors that it has with the camera. But if you go over here, and this is not an easy way to move, because you cannot just go all to the orange. This is a red and there's an orange. You have to press down here, and you can actually see how it's moving down. You press that, and you twist it all the way to the orange part right there. And now it actually triggered. What I'm doing with this is disabling all the electronic requirements, and it's just shooting. So how is this happening? Well, you can still set up your aperture, which is going to be set up on the moment you trigger. Let's put a small aperture so maybe you can be able to see it. See, but obviously you have to crank it again. But it did happen, the triggering. Now what's going on without the battery, what is going to happen is that on an average, or very closely, approximately, it would be 1/400 of a second what it's going to trigger. So it's going to use the fastest trigger speed that we have here, fastest shooting speed. So even if I have it at 1/30 of a second, 1/15 of a second, if I don't have the battery, it will start shooting everything at 1/400 of a second. So in case you're in a studio using lights, and if you notice that your photos are coming a little darker or whatever, then you can probably be sure that this is shooting faster because it doesn't have battery. Although it does have an indication, this and the little lights over here that we have on the LED indicators, there's one indicator that will tell you, hey, I'm running out of battery. So, but that's one thing. So when you first get the camera, I'm not sure if you're gonna buy it new or use it, but even if you get it new, you don't know how long the battery was inside there, because it will come with a battery. So if when they pack the battery in the camera, the power may be a little bit used already just by being there. You know, batteries, they have a certain lifespan, so the battery lifetime may be shorter than what normally we would expect. So as soon as you get one of these cameras, I would recommend buy an extra little battery and just put it on the side, or immediately change it if you want, but just keep it near the camera, so in case you run out of it, you're not gonna have troubles later on. So just get a new one and put it on the side. Obviously, another second thing is a very important thing, to match the poles correctly on the camera. You don't want to like short circuit anything or nothing. I haven't noticed anything wrong thing happening, but I mean, Mamiya definitely puts it on on their manuals to be aware of the polarity of the batteries. Now, before you put the battery on there, Mamiya also recommends you to wipe the contacts of the battery. So you wipe it a little bit with a cloth or something, just make sure there's no dust or something. And if you don't do it, it would it could result in a poor electrical connection to the camera. So the contact would maybe a little bit hindered if you don't polish this up. Well, not polish, but just like wipe it a little bit. So yeah, you should do that just to make sure that it will be okay. You just wipe it a little bit. And when you're not using the camera for a long time, they recommend you definitely to take out the battery and store it in a dry and cold place. So no hot and warm places for the battery. And this is like for a long time. We're talking about months or whatever, maybe up to a year without using the camera. I mean, I've been not using the camera for a couple of months, and it's all good. But if it's in a hot place or wet and you don't use it for like a couple months, I mean, everything depends. But if you're not planning to shoot the camera for quite a time, just take out the battery and put the battery at the side, and that would help it, because you don't want the battery to explode or to trickle leak inside the camera. And obviously, well, one of the last things would be the battery lives. It really depends. I mean, they do have like, oh yeah, this will last you 5 years or 10 years or 3 years or 1 year, whatever. But it really depends on many factors: the type of the battery, the freshness of the battery when you purchase it, how actually from the time it was built to the time you purchase it, how fresh it is. The conditions that you use the battery on, the conditions the battery was stored before you purchase it and after you purchase it, and obviously the temperature and time of use that you use it. I mean, if you just use it a little bit, it can last you longer, of course, and if you use it a lot, it will deplete faster. But I haven't had any problems. I mean, with this battery, I probably have like 2-3 years already, and although I have a backup, I haven't have any issues with the speeds or anything. I mean, once you notice that the speeds start to flickering or whatever, then you may want to try to change the battery, because that would be one of the first issues that we can afford to check, pretty quick.